re-energize executive wellness through the leader shift. This masterclass is presented by Mentally Fit's Luc van Hofstadt, Suresh Naidu, Alban, Jacquinot, if that is correct, I'm not sure. But we are looking forward to hear from them this morning.
Yeah,
just in terms, welcome to the team.
Can I just interrupt in there? Let's maybe not give the official introduction. Let's maybe wait for 12:30 because all those great people, they were early. So let's maybe do some chit chat now, and then at 12:30.
I think our people are already in the room, look.
Yeah, but not everybody, yeah? We're still waiting. We're still waiting. So can I suggest we wait 5 minutes?
Thank you.
And let's just now chit chat, welcome the people that you know. Who do you know in the room, Christelle?
Luke, thank you. While we are waiting for a last couple of people to enter the room, may I please ask you to mute all your microphones unless you want to speak later on when there is an opportunity on the program. Please mute your audio to prevent the background noises, but we would like to ask you to make yourself visible, please. This is a team of sports coaches. Being close to the athletes is fundamental to guarantee a good connection and an optimal cooperation. So we ask to make yourselves visible, especially I think during the first session that I will explain just now. Also get your cell phones ready, a request from the team. Please get your cell phones ready because during this session, they're going to use Mentimeter for the live voting. So there is menti.com if you want to go there in the meantime and get that ready. You can also take down that code, and Lizelle will also put the code in the chat box later this morning. So around the questions and answers, I will be guiding you in terms of that on the program.
How many people do we have in the room?
While I have the program up for this morning, I would like to just introduce myself. I am Christelle Cronje, the Alumni Manager at USB, and also from the Alumni Office, we have Lizelle Kannemeyer and Shana Cooper with us here this morning. In addition, we have the facilitators that I'll be introducing in a while, and then of course the Mentally Fit team. Welcome to all alumni and friends of the USB. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. We trust you will walk away today with a new level of energy. We have invited Mentally Fit to present this unique event where we focus on energizing on a personal, a team, and the organizational level. Mr. Luc van Hofstadt, who will lead the team of presenters, will be properly introduced later. But for now, I can mention that he has recently been appointed as the mental coach for Stellenbosch University's Marty's hockey team. So we're very proud to have him and his team here today for us. This team energizing session will focus on fit to play, fit to lead, and fit to grow. Now, you all may have received the podcast on each of these sessions as part of your invitation, and the presenters have kindly agreed to make the slides and contact details available post the event. So I will be sharing that with you, and I will also be sharing these 3 podcasts again for you to view later. Now, our facilitators for this morning are Christine, Carey. Wait, maybe first I can just show you the program again. As you will see, we'll have 3 main sessions. Under each session after that, there will be an opportunity for questions and comments in the chat box. Please feel free to make your comments, your questions to this team this morning. They're a professional team, and they will, if time allows, they will be answering your questions. Also, Lucas agreed at the end of the session at 2 o'clock, we'll stay on for any other questions that you may have or anything that there was not time to answer during the event. So please stay on after 2 o'clock if you have any other further questions. For the duration of this event, we are very fortunate to have two facilitators, and I would like to introduce them and hand over to them to take you through the program for this morning. Now, Christine Carey is a practicing leader development coach and organization development consultant. She's passionate about the impact of coaching on our self-awareness and awakening for results and performance that can impact our communities. Christine is the founder of Coaching Mentoring Education Africa and an entity who brings evidence-based coaching practices and research to trigger and challenge the thinking perspectives for a more productive results and performance environment. Of course, Christine is a valued alum of ours. She holds an MPhil in coaching, and she's also a community coaching certificate from USB Ed, so a double alum for USB and USB Ed. She's very active as alum, and she sits on the USB Alumni Association Gauteng Chapter Committee, where she's already made an impact around a survey that she's planning to determine our alumni's needs in Gauteng. She enjoys academic writing with her first article on women in business, which was published in as part of the Women's Report. And that's a platform that research into issues affecting women in the workplace. Christine, thank you very much for availing yourself to guide us today. And then Uzi Kugushi. Welcome, Uzi. Uzi is part of the Mentally Fit team. She's a business partner. Together with Christine, they will take you through the program. Uzi has worked 7 years as an international model and has almost 14 years of work experience spanning across various industries in multiple European and African countries. She had 2 successful careers from modeling to marketing in corporate. She's a walking example about the power of reinvention and repositioning. And we will be very proud to share all the bios with you after the event. With that, I hand over to these very capable 2 facilitators, and we look forward to the event. Thank you. Over to you, Christine and Uzi.
Thank you, Christelle. And a big welcome to everybody who has taken time out of a busy day, busy schedules, and wanting to join us online. You are going to have a very fascinating and different online session. So you really need to put at the back of your mind that we're working with sports coaches in an executive coaching kind of mindset as we re-energize. So hello, good day, Sawubona, I see you, and I look forward to hearing you. I can hear your presence in the room. Let us enjoy. The challenge and the gratitude I give to you is to say, so why are you all here? How do you expect to re-energize yourself and those around you when you leave this meeting room? What leadership are you looking for? Are you ready to challenge yourself and be re-energized by the mentally fit team? Can we challenge ourselves to be open to receive what mentally fit is going to bring and to share and to give us? Can we also give them the same energy that they are going to bring into the room? Can we be open to learn? And can we be very curious? Be part of the fun and get ready to switch on your cameras so you can disrupt your own status quo as the speakers come through. We are not going to judge you because we are in a sports environment mindset shift today. So no matter you're wearing your gym, no matter you're wearing your attire, your suit office attire, let's just have fun. You are re-energizing yourself. You're having fun. create space around you, and let's get re-energized. So to start off, I'll hand you over to Uzi, who is going to help us walk the talk now as we get into the mentally fit kind of lingo so that we begin to embrace and to enjoy that. Over to you, Uzi.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you for that, Christelle, as well. Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us this, rather good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I have a very brief task, which is to introduce Mentally Fit South Africa to you. I'd like to tell you about who we are, what we do, and how we do what it is we do. Mentally Fit was launched in 2000 in Belgium and has a global network that has gradually expanded to 20 countries, including South Africa for the past 6 years. And it has over 100 coaches. Our goal is to energize human performance in 3 levels: energizing individuals, energizing teams, energizing organizations in sports, art, academic, or corporate environment. We energize performance as well as mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical energy. In corporate, we coach employees to become corporate athletes. As Mentally Fit, we are inspired by sports and validated by science, and our methodologies are tested and our results are proven both in sports and the corporate world. Everybody, we're excited to see all of you online and trust you will enjoy today's masterclass. Christine, back to you.
Thank you, Uzi. And we're looking now forward, very curious to understand the inspiration of sports and the motivation of science in what Mentally Fit is going to do to our executive roles that we all play. Whether you are a mom, a stay-at-home dad, whether you have kids dealing with this lockdown and you're working from home, whether you're driving to the office, whether your workspace is somewhere in a new, different place, let's re-energize ourselves. So I would like to introduce you to our first speaker, Suresh Naidu. Suresh is an experienced executive who has worked in South Africa, who is passionate about transformation and improving the wellness and well-being of all of us. He specializes in, he brings his executive experience from business into the Mentally Fit team and the culture of how South Africans work and collaborate. So let's walk the talk with Suresh as we enjoy and get to understand what is fit to play. Over to you, Suresh.
Thank you very much, Christine. I'm just going to share my screen.
I have it.
Okay. Sure.
Please share.
Great. Good afternoon, everyone. And it's such an honor and a pleasure to be presenting at this afternoon's masterclass. And firstly, thank you for your time. We all work in busy schedules, and I really appreciate you making time for this afternoon's masterclass. There's no doubt that the disruption caused by the pandemic has placed enormous levels of stress and frustration on many people's work, social, and family lives. We're constantly hearing comments or in discussions related to burnout, team out, pandemic fatigue, disconnection, low energy, lack of work-life balance, and little or no social interaction, which is very prevalent at the moment. Interestingly, according to the World Health Organization, depression and anxiety cost companies approximately $1 trillion lost in productivity per every year. That's a fascinating amount and really something that will be concerning for many people. Not only have we shifted in new ways of working, we've moved to new ways of collaborating, we've moved to new ways of communication, and we've moved to new ways of connection. The one thing that unifies all of us, or unites all of us, is the need for connection and energy. And today we're going to spend quite a bit of time in talking about energy. And my first part is really about Fit to Play. With our unique Fit to Play program, we show you how to energize, we show you how to recharge your energy fast and efficiently and to optimize recovery. So this afternoon, I'm going to share with you 3 aspects of my afternoon's program in Fit to Play. Is the power of pit stops, managing my energy, and the last one is my 7 personal energy recharge. So moving on to the first slide this morning, I'm going to put out a question to all of you, even before we start. And I would love you to give us some feedback in the chat group or the chat box. We compare ourselves as executives and as, as leadership positions as athletes, as corporate athletes. And then we also look at what the elite athletes do. So what I would like you to do is just put down in the chat box, how much time do you think an elite athlete spends in training, rest, and in recovery modes versus competing or versus in action in terms of his event? Use the chat box, and of course, we'll have an understanding of exactly what your estimation or guess is about how much time does an elite athlete spend in training, rest, and in recovery modes versus competing. Once you've done that, then ask yourself, now think about how much time you spend as corporate athletes in the following modes of training, rest, and in recovery modes.
So you have 80, 20, 90, 10, 90% versus 10%, 75 versus 30%, training 80%, recovery 15%, competing 5%.
Okay, we've got some interesting and some very, very accurate information, which is great. So what we're going to go on to the next slide really is show you exactly what happens in terms of an elite athlete versus an elite corporate athlete. And we're going to measure them on 3 areas. We're going to look at the length of the career, their training and recovery, and competition. The first one is the elite athlete's lifespan in terms of his peak performance, in terms of his best years or her years of their life is between 10 to 15 years. Their training and recovery is 90%. And the competition that they participate in, events and in competitions that they do, is 10%. Interestingly, that athletes cannot train for 7 to 8 hours a week and expect to perform at the high level. And we look at, the high level is really 1 day of competition. You take boxing, for instance, a boxer will train for the entire year just to participate in one event, which is a world-class, the world bout example. So he trains for 1 year, which is almost 11 months, and then looks at a recovery in the last month in terms of his competition. Most footballers spend approximately 2 to 3 hours training per day, and the rest of it is based on recovery and rest. And there we would look at an 80-20% ratio. Also understand and think about where you are, is that most of the professional elite athletes have full-time trainers, they have full-time mental coaches, they have full-time psychologists, they have a nutrition. So just understand what they go through in terms of when they do peak. And last but not least, resting for them is just as important as training. So coming back to the corporate athlete, which is all of us included in the session, is that the corporate athlete spends 45 years, approximately 40 to 45 years in terms of his career. The training and in recovery is about 20%, and we in competition or we in work or we in execution mode for about 80% of the time. Interesting stats that come through here and something that we really need to take cognizance of. So you've got to ask yourself as corporate athletes, how much do you think about you performing as an athlete? We're all on this absolutely busy stage of our lives. Everything is busy at the moment. We're sort of burning the candles at both ends. And we're going to look forward to a session from Mentally Fit called Busy is the New Stupid. And it's about the hamster wheel. We are continuously on this wheel, but are we making progress? Are we are we adding value to what we do? Recovery is when you rest and not when you're training. Just understand that. And you've got to ask yourself, so how much recovery and training time are you doing? And your length and in career is significantly different to an elite athlete. So you've got to work out exactly what you want to achieve. And the biggest difference in terms of in training and recovery is that we've all got to understand that we've got this 45-year span that we have, and you cannot, and it's impossible to run a marathon in the sprint mode. We're very much in this mode at the moment, and it's important that we reflect and take back what it is. So the message here is very clear, is that just reflect on your training recovery time, understand how much time you can put aside just for my time and me time, and just make sure you fully dedicate that time in terms of looking at where you are and what you want to do. So that covers the first part of our section in terms of comparing the executive athletes to the elite athletes, or the corporate athletes, should I say. And there's some key lessons that we need to take for a sustainable, high and winning performance that we look at. Moving on to the next slide, I'm going to talk about the power of pit stops. I think we're all familiar with pit stops. Those who follow motor racing, Formula One motor racing, really understand what is, and remember that the pit stop or Formula One is the fastest sport on earth, and they still have pit stops. So you've got to ask yourself, why do we have pit stops? Why do they have pit stops? It's really about looking at how the car goes into the pit stop. It goes into change tires, it goes into change refueling, where necessary, it changes parts, etc. Interestingly, again, is that 15 years ago, a pit stop lasted about 30 seconds. And fast forward the clock now. Today's world record to change 4 tires in a pit stop is approximately 1.85 seconds. I mean, that's a phenomenal stat in itself, but it tells you about how the world has moved on and how efficient we are in terms of what we do. So the reason why they do pit stops is really about to slow down, to move faster. Are we doing this as corporate athletes? Are we taking time out to reflect, to rest, to slow down, to move faster, more efficiently in terms of what we want to achieve? So the question that we need to ask ourselves is, are you doing a pit stop or are you too busy? I mean, this is a great example, is that somebody is offering help to make you become more efficient and faster, but no thanks, we're too busy, because I think we've got our head in the sand. It's like, as I've said, we're so engrossed in what we're doing, we forget to just come back and reflect on how we're looking at it. So in terms of pit stops, we also need to understand that this is not a business stop. A business stop is when you talk to your teams about your organization, your performance, where are our KPIs, what are we against budget, what are we against, the growth, etc. This is completely different. This is about my stop, or me stop, should I say. It's about your team stops. It's talking about, how well are you? How is your energy? How are you feeling at the moment? And this is quite important, especially in the times of pandemic that we have. It's about how you feel, how's your energy, how's your motivation, how's your drive. And on a team level is to understand your team in terms of how are they feeling at the moment? How is the trust? How is the collaboration? How is the recognition? Are we talking enough to each other in terms of the role that we play in terms of this pandemic, with Zoom, with MS Teams, etc. Interestingly also is that a recent article from McKinsey states that employees that are now trying to sprint through what has become a marathon at which is really an unsustainable pace. This is why we find ourselves in the early stages of a potentially prolonged period of disillusionment, grief, and exhaustion, a period that may get worse before it gets better. And I think as executives and corporate athletes, we really need to understand what are the trends in the world telling us in the last 18 months since we've gone into pandemic. Another part of what we look at is that how many meetings have you had, or how many meetings do you attend? How many of them are valuable, where you should be in meetings and where you shouldn't be in meetings? I'm going to move on to the next part here. Is really, we need to stop the glorification of business. What's important for us here is to understand the quality, the frequency of your team stops, of your my stops, will really determine whether you get to the finish line, and more importantly, in what position you're going to get to the finish line. The top performing, top winning companies take this very seriously. So just understand where, what you're looking at. I'm going to now move on to the next part, is to show you exactly what were 2 pit stops that were taking place in Formula One. The first one we'll go through now. Watch it carefully. It's an efficient, slick operation, taken months or years of training. The vehicle comes in within a second, it's out of its pit stop and it's gone. But this doesn't come overnight. It's a matter of practice and practice and practice. And more importantly, it takes you and gives you the results that you have. Now look at the next one, which is quite.
And that looks like a set of slicks to me, James.
It's absolutely extraordinary. When Salo came in a moment ago, they had both slicks and dries ready for it. Right rear. They're not ready on the left rear. There's no tyre. Right rear, I beg your pardon, there's no tyre here.
I've never seen anything like it. There's no tyre to put on.
Oh, I thought we had one when the race started, he's saying. Well, this is ludicrous. This is
now we're going to have a committee meeting about it. Stick it on and send him out.
A major misorganisation problem there.
You can see very clearly the difference in terms of what a slick operation was. And if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, that cost Eddie Irvine podium position in terms of finishing the year being #1 in terms of formula. So it just shows you a couple of seconds and bad, in terms of, as I said, a mismanagement, which really was exactly what happened there, bad planning. So again, it could cost you where you want to be in your company or in your organization, and think about it carefully. What does this mean? We spoke about energy, and really mentally fit is all about energy. And I'm going to go to the next part of my presentation is, so what is energy and how do we relate to energy and how do we look at it? How do we integrate it with, and how do we relate to energy? So firstly, let's ask ourselves, what is energy? And we define energy, and there are many definitions of energy. At Mentally Fit, we simplified it, and it's really about the energy is the feeling you wake up in the morning. Very simple. The energy is the feeling that you wake up in the morning. So every morning you wake up with energy. And remember, energy is dependent, and there are many factors that affect your energy in the morning or the way that you will feel in the morning. Some of them are called boosters. Boosters are when you have a great night's sleep, you're in a good mood, you're looking forward to the day, it's going to be great, the weather's great, you're just feeling on top of the world, and it's a great way to look at it. You also can wake up in the morning understanding there are drainers, energy drainers that cause you concern about, so what's lying ahead? Are you going through personal problems? Are there issues in terms of your health? Are there problems with your children? Is work not as comfortable as it needs to be? So these are energy drainers, and we often use them as leakages in terms of what we look at. In many of the sports, in the top elite sports, the difference between winning a medal, let's call it gold, for instance, or winning, Eddie Irvine winning the Formula One, is really about a few split seconds in terms of what we look at. And the top athletes and the top coaches look at all the energy leaks that they think are within them or that they're experiencing. And once they identify them, they then have a program and a plan to make sure they eradicate them. It's important that you understand for yourself, what are your energy leaks? What are your energy drainers that pull you down? And I'll talk about a few examples that I can share with you. So in this little slide that I've got here, I'm going to just talk about 3 areas that we're going to look at. So where is your energy? We measure them on the physical, the mental, the emotional, and overarching this, we can add the spiritual energy. So these are your 4 energy batteries that you have. So let's take, for instance, the physical energy. Do you know that sleep is the #1 physical leak that you have, or physical leak in terms of the energy that you have? And it's really quite worrying that you look at sleep, and if you don't have a good sleep, what it does to you. #2 may be a surprise to you. A lot of people think it's related to flu, but it's not. It's back problems. Again, it's about our physical mobility in terms of how we look after our bodies physically and what we do. The next one really defines some of the mental boosters and drainers, and we put them in this way so that they could be both. They could be a booster for you and they could be a drainer. And if you look at the expectations of the day, as I've said, if you look at a great day coming up for you, you're enthused about what's ahead of me. Example, myself today, I was absolutely energized in terms of today's presentation and sharing the platform with you today. So I'm absolutely on a high in terms of my energy, looking forward to the day. Contrary, you could have a day where it could be not looking good. You're presenting to the board, the results weren't good, and you're not feeling too good and your energy is low. The other part of mental is your job itself. So are you really passionate about the job you're in? Do you wake up with a spring in your step in the morning, looking at going to work and really wanting to enjoy what's ahead of you, the people, people you work with, the type of work you do, you're energized, your why is absolutely clear, you're going in with a clear purpose. On the contrary, we hear a lot of people are in the wrong jobs and unfortunately are not enjoying the jobs. They're not passionate about the jobs, they're going through the motion. The last circle is the emotional energy in terms of your pluses and minuses, and relationships here play a very, very important role. We spoke about this distance in terms of where we are as teams at the moment, working remotely, working via Teams, working via MS Teams and Zoom. We're distant away from our colleagues. So this relationship in terms of emotion, we're not in contact with colleagues. There's a lot of loneliness and people want to talk to each other. And in terms of the last, the number one in terms of all surveys has been this year, and it relates a lot to recognition. It's this lack of recognition. Research and the latest data coming out is also showing that many people, in terms of the communication with the line managers and leaders and people in authority, are CCing them on most of the emails. This is just to make sure that they're reading exactly that I'm working hard. And you need to see this because you can't physically come to my office and see it. So I think that the message here is very clear, is that can you look at yourselves working in the corporate world and how many unnecessary leaks do you personally have and what is it costing both you and your company? It's very important that you understand that a winning and high performance company address this all the time. We had a very good session with one of our previous clients, Woolworths, and they found an extreme lot of value in this type of work where they understood where they can spend the 80-20 principle in terms of looking at spending 20% of the time looking at getting 80% of the realization and the benefit of what they want. Just very high level, I'm not going to go through a lot, but some of the boosters that we get from with interactions with people and also just the human beings we are. Socially, if you're integrated with your family, friends, indulging in sports, talking to local people, having dinners, just a dinner these days has become so difficult. Indulging in your hobbies, whether you can have the chance to, whether you can play in a team sport, whether you can, listen to music, play instruments, feel that you're belonging to a team, something which is noble and inspirational. For us, fortunately, we're working together at Mentally Fit in the office in Hout Bay. We're together, we're quite inspired by each other and we're quite energized. It's not something happening along the way at the moment. And one of the things we find, in terms of a booster has been traveling. At the moment, we don't travel. Our travel is very restricted. We can't go into certain countries. Certain countries are not allowing us, whether it's for leisure or for business. And imagine the life we had when we used to travel, inspired by these great places, the great cuisine, the great culture that we have. We don't have that now. Similarly, drain is about really, do you have enough time in the day? Are you rushing? Are you back to back? And do you understand exactly where you are? Bad health, your health takes a knock for the worst. So these are some of the energies and that relate to boosters and drainers. We're now going to do a little bit of we're going to go on to Mentimeter, and Alban's going to show his screen to you in Mentimeter, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure our energy. And I think it's a great time to measure our energy, just listening to what we've gone through. We've gone through some great pit stops and understanding my time. We've looked at the energy in terms of what we should be and where we should be. So we want to use the Mentimeter tool for this. So if you go on to menti.com, and the exercise this afternoon is to measure our energy on 4 axes. We're going to score from 1 to 6, and 1 being the lowest and 6 being the highest. And what we would like you to do, we're going to measure on the four axes. One is IQ, which is your intelligent quotient, EQ, your emotional quotient, your physical Q, and your physical quotient, and your spiritual quotient. So we can look at that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, what happens? Ask Charney to.
Okay, Charney, can you allow me to share my screen, please?
Suresh, can you just share the code again, please?
Yes, I will share the code for you. It is.
So the code is 71883656.
Is it in the chat?
Yes, it is.
It's in the chat.
Can you allow me to share my screen, please?
Thank you.
Shane, if you can allow Alban to show his screen, and we'll put up the Mentimeter polling with us so everyone can have a look at it.
Under what name are you?
On Alban Jacquinot. Alban Jacquinot.
Charney, can you hear us?
Yes, we've made Alban co-host.
Andrew, can you mute your microphone?
Okay.
Okay, here it is.
There it is, we've got it.
I noticed that some participants were excited to vote before, so we have already some results. So here we are on the mental energy.
Okay, this is great. I mean, we're looking at the four axes again. The mental, emotional, physical energy, and we can see that at the moment with the participants coming in. How many have we got so far, Alban? We're looking at about
17, yeah, 20.
Yeah, we've got about 20, and at the moment we're looking at about the mental energy. The mental and emotional energy is the highest. Put your microphone off.
Suresh, you are muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Great. This is a great tool we use regularly at Mentally Fit, the menti.com, and we use various sort of inputs in terms of understanding what we want, but it just gives you a very good indication of exactly where your teams are, how good they're performing and which levels they are, but more importantly is to look at the levels that are down, where you need to spend more time in, because this is where you need to bring them up. They need to be performing pretty much at level in terms of what we're looking at, much on the higher level that we can look at. So thank you very much for your time there. It's been great to be part of that menti.com. I'm going to now share my screen again. And go on to the next section. So the next section, we spoke about energy. So what are the tips and guidance that we can give you from Mentally Fit to help you to recharge your energy? What are you looking for? How do I recharge my energy in these difficult times? So I'm going to run through this in terms of where we are. So the first one is sleep. The optimum number of hours that we require to sleep is about 9 hours. The average globally is about 7.2, 7 hours and 21 minutes. Understand that anything after 9 hours really adds no value to you at all. If you look at a cell phone battery or a computer, once it reaches 100%, still there, it's not going to get to 101 or 105. You've maxed out. So similarly with sleep, you reach a maximum in terms of sleep. Very important here is that sleep contributes to 50% towards your recharging of energy for your mental, physical, and emotional recovery. 50%. So as I said, if you don't have a good sleep, you're not going to be in a great shape during the day or for the course of the day. Some quick tips on understanding, what is the best way I can help you to improve tips. Try and stay away from caffeine, after 3 p.m. Rather indulge in some herbal teas, chamomile, maybe some rooibos tea, some verbena, some lavender tea. No intense sport or little alcohol within 2 hours before going to bed. Try and avoid any blue light or bright light 60 minutes before you go to bed. Manage your nutrition. See how much you eat in the evening. It's light. It's not heavy for you because your digestive system takes a lot of energy in terms of digesting your food. Make sure you're well hydrated. Manage yourself in terms of going to bed relaxed. Manage your room in terms of it's quiet, it's meant to sleep. You know, it's a nice cool place to sleep in. A very good book, if you're battling with sleep and something that's a concern with you, is a good book to read is Why Do We Sleep by Matthew Walker. It's a very good book to look at. The next energy recharge is called nutrition and hydration. Nutrition and hydration contributes to 25% of your recovery. So just understand, 50% sleep, 25% in nutrition and recovery. So 75%, if you get this two right, you're 3/4 of the way of getting a very, very good return in terms of your recovery. Hydration plays just as important role in terms of your nutrition and hydration. 1% of hydration caused within 3 hours results in 10% performance reduction, physical and mental. The relationship, of course, the more you go to 2%, it goes to 20%. So again, understand the impact of what this has for you. We had an excellent example to share with you is that for those of you who understand football and follow international football, Lionel Messi, who is a world-class footballer, plays for Barcelona. When Messi arrived in Barcelona as a young teenager with this great potential, lots of people wanted him to perform, but his preferred choice of food was McDonald's, and he went to sleep not before 2 a.m. And everybody recognized his talent, but with those bad habits, he would have never reached the peak of where he was today. And Pep Guardiola, this amazing coach, and those of you who follow football, Man City have just won the English Premier under Pep Guardiola. I think they're playing in the final on Saturday against Chelsea in the European final. Pep Guardiola identified this, and he spent lots of his time and coaching and energy management to unlock this and make sure he really got to the right behavior. Today, he's won the Ballon d'Or numerous times and is an iconic person in terms of us following. So importantly, understanding nutrition and food. Physical activity, we're quite excited that Alban and Valentine are going to share a lot coming after my session, but it's about move, move, move. The human body is made to move. So just understand that. Wake up after every 10, 15 minutes, understand where you are. The one thing that we talk about is that sitting kills. We often are sitting behind screen, back-to-back meetings, and sitting kills. Research has shown that the chance of heart attack is decreased by 42% with 2.5 hours of physical activity per week, and by almost 21% by 1.5 hours of physical activity per week. So it just shows you that what physical activity means. Many companies we're finding in the last quarter of companies that we engage with, Woolworths is one, is that they're asking their teams not to have back-to-back meetings, to have it at 45 minutes, to have it at 25 minutes, to give their teams a chance just to wake up, to walk, to breathe some fresh air and understand where they are. The fourth one, it's going to be a surprise to you, I'm sure, but it's humor. It's the power of humor that we need to have and the positive effect it has on us. And interestingly, how many times do you think children laugh a day? Any guesses from the team? Christelle, any chance of understanding how many times children laugh a day? Okay, let me help you with it. They laugh approximately 200 to 300 times a day. How many times does an adult laugh a day? Only 15 times a day. 1 minute of laughter equals about 45 minutes of relaxation. It's a great indicator of where you are in terms of your mental and your emotional health. In the 30s, people laughed in an average of 19 minutes. In the 80s, that dropped substantially to 6 minutes. And in the 2000s, we now only laugh at about 4 minutes a day. We do unfortunately have numerous excuses, and whether it's right or wrong, it's up to us to control. We're distracted, we're too serious about where we are. The reason is we've got TV, we're on our mobile devices, we just distance ourselves from exactly having fun and having laughter. Moving on to the next one, which is our fifth one, is passive and active leisure. So passive leisure really is the time you spend in activities that are relaxing and that require little effort. Active leisure activities involve using physical or mental energy, often overlap with recreational activities that usually happen outside your home. The goal of both active and passive leisure is the creation of a peaceful environment several times a week to structurally and regularly break the stress cycles. Very important. You need to take control of that and you need to look at it. Some good examples of passive leisure is listening to music, watching television, reading a book, relaxation, yoga, and indulging in some of your hobbies. Some of the active leisure activities is walking, biking, hiking with your family, or even biking with your family. So it's important that this relaxation really gets you to understand what you can do and how it can help you in terms of rejuvenating your energy. The next one, I spoke to you about my time in the first slide in terms of the pit stops, is that our time at the moment is made up mainly of professional time, our work time, and our private time, handling not many things about home, the children, schooling, shopping, etc. And I call that private time. Are you giving yourselves enough time to have me time? And me time really is about being selfish. It's about the art of doing nothing. It's all about myself. And understand that the time that you have, the 24 hours that you have, belong to you and no one else. How you control it, what you do with it, and how you spend it, it's all up to you. So take breaks, take them undisturbed. Go for a walk at lunchtime. Leave your phone in the office. Cut yourself away from the social media that we have. How often have you found just wandering yourself and just freewheeling and just letting your mind free yourself? And one of the advices we give a lot of in our training sessions is that build disciplined ritual transactions from work to play. Make sure if you want to take your dog out for a walk at 6 o'clock, stop everything else, take the dog out for a walk, and don't change that regime. And I think a nice quote, nice information we gleaned is that billionaire serial entrepreneur Richard Branson agrees. He believes that being intentional about taking time away from your to-do list helps you to set ambitious goals. If you free some of your time to think freely, you'll be able to see the bigger picture much easier. From Branson. Very good advice from a very successful person. The last one here is about social contacts. Our social well-being is a key component relative to our overall health. Maintaining social connections and feeling valued by others all contributes to our social well-being. And research has shown that employees with excellent social wellness are more productive, are more happy, and more energized and looking versus the contrary with poor social wellness. Humans are social animals. We're all aware of that. We're experiencing at the moment, and we're programmed to interact. And we see at the moment the difficulty we have relative to having the team calls and the Zoom calls. We took a lot for granted, and we understand the difficulty now in terms of bridging and meeting and connecting with people.
Suresh,
yes.
Suresh, can you just try and move a bit faster because we need to manage time?
I'm at my last slide. Thank you very much, Christine. Sorry about that. I'm at my last time. We're playing a little bit of extra time. I'm just going to close with, I think, a very interesting story. And I'm going to move on to the next slide here. What can we learn from Ben Coleman and his colleagues? It's a very good story. Listen carefully, and I think there's some great takeaways from this. Ben Coleman holds the record as the slowest cross-country rider in the United States of America. On a typical 3.1 mile race, it takes about 40 to 42 minutes to complete the race. But there is a catch in this inspirational story, ladies and gentlemen. Ben is not a normal runner. As with any race in a short period of time, the stronger ones will pull ahead and the weaker ones will start to fall behind. But not Ben Coleman. Ben was left behind as soon as the starter gun sounded. Ben's not the fastest runner on the team. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, he is the slowest. He has never won a single race the entire time he's been on the Hannah High School cross-country team. Ben, you see, friends, has cerebral palsy. Ben Coleman is an 18-year-old teenager who was born with cerebral palsy. Since he was young, he had limited control of his arms, stiffness in his legs, and made running a very strenuous task for him. What is most amazing about this inspirational story is that Ben just wanted to run for his school's cross-country team. This gets interesting now. Something amazing happened after about 25 minutes when the gun went off at the start. When everyone else is done with their race, everyone comes back to Ben. And understand, Ben is the only runner left in the race. But he's also the only runner that when he falls, that there's somebody to pick him up. And when he stumbles, somebody is there to steady him up. Ben is the only runner, when he finishes, has 100 people running behind him. Just want to repeat that. When Ben finishes, he has 100 people running behind him, and he finishes the race in front of them. So you've got to ask yourself, there's a lesson in this story. So what is the lesson that Ben and his friends are teaching us? Any guesses, very quickly? Christelle, anyone who's got their mics open, anyone who can help us with it. Christine, any lessons in terms of what you think the lesson that Ben has taught us?
You can't do anything alone. You always need others.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Christine. Thank you for that. The lesson we learned from Ben and his friends is a true African one. It's called the spirit of Ubuntu. I am because we are. So you've got to ask yourself, it's a very powerful lesson and indeed important, especially under the circumstances in working under pandemic times. And ask yourself, what am I doing to energize my colleagues and my teams? And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I hope none of us get to this stage after today's session in understanding self-care is a priority and not a luxury. So let's hope your battery is not in the red and always being re-energized and recharged. Thank you for your time. I'm apologizing to being slightly over. It's been great talking to you. I'm going to hand over back to Christine. And once again, thank you.
Thank you, Suresh. I'm sure we are all okay with the slight overrun because the pit stops, something critical for us to have learned. Are we ready to change ourselves and include a pit strategy so that our batteries do not run dry? What is our mental, emotional, and physical state and the spiritual state? Because most of us tend to think, I'm busy, I need to push, I need to run, I need to do. So we are now going to take all the concepts that Suresh has outlined in Fit to Play and challenge ourselves. Remember, in the beginning, I did ask, why are you all here? And I think Suresh has started to answer some of those questions as to why you got curious enough to join in this Mentally Fit USB Alumni Masterclass. And I'm sure some of your questions around energizing and re-energizing yourselves are being answered. I did highlight in the beginning that create space around where you're sitting, enjoying this masterclass, because we are challenging ourselves today to mentally re-energize ourselves in the various ways that Suresh has outlined, and also based on what more Luke is going to bring as part of the Mentally Fit package. So I'd like to introduce you now as we move from Fit to Play. We keep walking the talk. Meet Valentin and Alban. Valentin and Alban are both successful sportsmen who have played soccer. You can imagine the life of a soccer player in terms of the training, in terms of the fitness, in terms of the mentally alertness that they have to carry. And you can imagine what is it that has made them successful soccer players being one of the most important and most popular, probably, sports globally, worldwide. If we remember from FIFA, World Cup 2010, when we hosted it in South Africa, you can just imagine how re-energizing that was. So I want to hand you over to these top footballers. Let us hear from them. What is it that has kept them fit to play? Let's walk the talk with them. Over to you, Alban and Valentin.
Thank you. So hello and welcome everyone. I'm Alban. I'm Valentine. So today we are going to walk the talk with a light out workout exercise. So you are welcome to stand up, everyone. We want you to put your palm. We want everyone to show their faces, show that they do the exercises with us. So everyone put your palm.
Alban and Valentin, let me just make an appeal. Ladies and gentlemen in the room, if you are really committing to yourself, to challenge yourself, switch on your screen, just get into some fun. Don't judge yourself, don't criticize yourself, just have fun with these footballers and imagine you are with them in a field where they would probably give you an auto bio. So let's put our cameras on and let's have some fun for just a few minutes.
Let's boost the physical quotient, guys. Let's go, let's get started. Let's go. So first we're gonna start with some neck pulls. So we're gonna do 15 seconds of neck pulls. So you turn. Come right. Okay, go slowly. Nice. Relax now. Perfect, good. So now we're gonna do some jogging. So we want you to run one place for 30 seconds. Okay? Let's do 30 seconds. No excuses today, guys. Let's go. We see you run, it's good. Okay, perfect. Don't forget to breathe. Keep going, guys. It's good. I like it. Nice. Don't forget we can see you. So if you don't switch your camera, that's bad. Okay, keep going, guys. Well done. Good, guys. So now what you're gonna do is squats. So I want you to put both of your hands in front of you. Go down, do a squat, and like catch the ball and throw. Okay, we're gonna do 5. Let's go. 1. Well done. Okay, that's perfect. 3. 4. Feel your quads now. Feel your quads. 5. Perfect. Good. Now we're gonna do some knee raises. You're gonna put your right and left hand and put it at your shoulder and with your opposite knee, try to touch it. Okay? Same thing for the other side. Good. Okay, and do 6. Let's go. 1, 2. Let's go, guys. 3, 4. Keep smiling. 5, 6. Super. Good. So now what we're gonna do is lunges. Let's get down. So you're gonna take your right leg and put it in front of you, and you go down. Same thing, left leg down. Let's do 6. Come on, guys, come on. Okay, good one. 4, 5, perfect. I like the way you move. 6. Good. Now let's do some back stretches. We know you sit there at the office all day, so we want you to stretch your back. What you're gonna do is put both of your arms like this, and go right and left. Okay? We're gonna do 10. Let's go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Last exercise, guys. We want you to stretch. So you take your right arm and you look it with your left arm, and with your head, you look at the opposite side and you pull. Same thing for the other arm. Okay? Let's do 2 for each. So 1. Super. We're almost there, guys. 2. Excellent. Good, guys. Well done. Thank you. Applause, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Luke and Alban. Ladies and gentlemen in the room, did you enjoy that? Can you just put in the chat, what did that do to your well-being? What did it do to your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual? Remember, we just did the Mentimeter. So where are you sitting with those EQs, IQs, PQs, SQs? If you can just give us some feedback on this short exercise. And I think that's one of those things, some of you who are running online sessions with your teams on back-to-back, when you take breaks, this is something you could actually utilize. It's great for your own back. It's great for the release of all the tension of sitting, of the concentration, of gluing yourself to the screen. And I'm sure you feel good. I feel energized. I feel re-energized. I wish I could just go on and now go outside and actually do the run and do a little bit more intense of this. So thank you so much, Valentine and Alban. And we have insights into why you look and you, yes?
Christine, I must mention that suddenly I've seen a lot more teeth on the screen. Since early this morning, I just see suddenly broad teeth. Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. I think that brings happiness. So for most of us who dread to wake up in the morning, there is a set of exercise you can do next to your bed before you even run into the shower, before you sit down for your dinner. As long as you don't do it too late, like Suresh says, don't exercise too late, don't have too much coffee too late. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope this is really starting to impact you in your own well-being as a leader of self and as a leader of others. I want for us to continue with the fit to play mindset, which we've just done. Let's keep walking the talk. And I want to introduce to you Luke. Luke is the executive for Mentally Fit. He's also a visiting alumni at the business school. He is also coaching the Stellenbosch hockey team. So we're looking forward to seeing some very interesting mentally fit results coming from that team with probably results and performance. Look, with no pressure, but we hope they do win their Western Cape League, and we hope they'll start to make impact coming from the Western Cape so that we can start to see and experience, mentally fit on the field as much as we have been experiencing it for the last 6 years in the executive suites in South Africa. So Luke is going to take us through Fit to Lead and Fit to Grow. He is inspired by sports, motivated by science. Over to you, Luke. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. We did already a lot. Huh? I'm just coming in now, but when I see what my colleague Suresh, my colleague Alban, Valentine, Christine, so I think we could nearly stop here. Huh? What do you think, Christine? Or do you really need my part or not?
I think with the brief that Uzi gave us, we cannot stop here.
Okay.
We still have got some time until 2, which is about 33 minutes. So okay. Yes, give us Fit to Lead and Fit to Grow. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to both of you. So let me also share my screen. And as we said before, you know that, let's see if it shares the correct screen. Yes, it shares the correct screens. What I would like to take you through is the first thing next to Fit to Grow and Fit to Lead is like, I'm not going to use slides, but I will use my tablet and you will see what I put on my tablet. And the first thing I would like to tell you what we are doing today is efficient imperfection. So we work with efficient imperfection. What is the contrary of efficient imperfection? What would be the contrary of efficient imperfection? Can anybody help me? Christine, Christelle, what is the opposite?
It's
It's
perfect inefficiency.
Inefficient perfection.
Perfection. So in sports, as my colleagues have explained, so sports is our roots, sports is our background, is our passion, but that's not our job. You can imagine that I'm not paid to be the mental coach now of Stellis or the Marty's hockey club, but we test things in sports and we bring it to corporations. So sports is our laboratory. So I know we are at the university, at the business school here, but everything that we bring with Mentally Fit, we bring it with our sports experience. It doesn't come out of books. It smells like the pitch. So I never ask my sports people, I never ask them to be perfect. I think perfection is something that we shouldn't aim for. We'd rather go with efficient imperfection than with inefficient perfection. I mean, my colleague here is still trying to put my second screen so I can see the people that put their cameras on. So that's how things happen. Okay, so take it, especially in these pandemic times, please, let's use efficient imperfection. And I want to lead you through, so you will get a copy of my notes also. I want to lead you what we call is level 2. So level 2 for us is fit to lead. So at first, like Suresh explained, we need our energy. We need our energy so we can lead the others. So we take care, level 1, about our energy. Level 2 is about the energy of the team. So we have a lot of leaders in this team. So now we're gonna talk about the team stretch. So how can we stretch our team? Your role as a leader is not to be complacent. Your role, and we will see it later, your role is to get the people out of their comfort zone so that they can grow. And how do we grow? At first, you probably remember we thought that growth was linear. Since long now, we know that growth isn't linear. Then we thought that growth was in steps. You remember, we have a step, we stabilize, and we go again. Now we see that growth isn't linear, isn't in steps, but we speak about development loops. Okay? And if we look at development loops, this is how we develop ourselves. A big loop, a smaller loop, and all at the end is the development. So if we look at one development loop, and maybe we link it with pandemic. So at first, you got the shock. Here, there's a shock. Whoop, pandemic, lockdown. So that's the first thing we have, is the shock. So what do we need to do first until here? We need to absorb. So at first I absorb the shock. And just think, this is how you grow. The next part is I assimilate. And the third part here is about the implementation. So I implement what I have learned, and then further on here, we grow and we develop. So if we look at the colors, this all takes us energy, and probably our performance goes down, but as from here, we start growing again. So this is what we have with our players. It means we teach them, for instance, if it's hockey, a new backhand or a new forehand, so their performance goes down. So they absorb, they assimilate, and then they implement. I think it was the same for us when we started working with Zoom or with Teams. Can you just go? I'm just helping here. Extend? No, it doesn't work. Okay, anyway, we'll do it with efficient imperfection. So that's how you learn. So think about when you learned working from home, Zoom. So at first the performance goes down and then it goes up again. And so what do we do in these different phases? The next phase here is adapt. The adapt phase. This one is the phase where we learn, and this one is the phase where we grow. So again, in the absorb, assimilate, that's how we grow. And as a leader, what do we ask you to do? So as a leader, here, the first thing with the shock, it's time to care. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's time to care. It's no time for blaming for this or that. You need to care. Be close to the people, listen, show empathy. The second here, when they assimilate as a leader, it's time to boost. Here we need to boost the people. So support progress, even if the results are not there, just boost the people. Why don't you put your computer here? It's going to be easier. So at that time, it's time to boost. And the third one here, it's time to stretch. So that's how, as leaders, you should support your people in these different phases. Because this one here, if we look at this one, that's where we will thrive. Okay, and when we are there, if I go to my next one, so here, this is red, and then we go to green, we thrive. And then here, we will go to red again, and then we will go to green. And what's interesting is that you see that the loops, we assimilate much quicker. So the drop in performance is much smaller. So for sports people, we do this all the time. All the time, we do this for sports people so that they just can grow more and more there. Just put it there like that. It's going to be okay. Sorry, we're still trying to do some arrangement. So that's how we grow. And so the last one here is time to shift. Okay, so as leaders, time to care, time to boost, time to stretch, and the last one in this loop is the time to shift. So you will see that these loops are quicker and quicker now. They go quicker. I mean, this opportunity, I wanted to tell it later, but this pandemic, this lockdown is a great moment to help your people to stretch, to grow, and to develop, because they're forced to. We are at the moment where there's always change. So we are forced to be in this change. Okay? So that's the first idea that I wanted to give you, how to take care of the energies, of the energy of the team. So now I'm going to show you the second one. So the second one in Fit to Lead is how to stretch individuals. Can you put on this one so that I can see myself? Here, please. So how can we stretch individuals? If we stretch individuals, if you look at individuals on two axes, here, there is an axis of pressure. How much pressure do I have? And if you look at the other axis, this one here is the expertise. Okay, for instance, you know that the Euro is gonna start soon, the Euro Soccer Cup. It's still the
Silence is also good.
Yeah, sorry, I need to switch and to change something. Efficient imperfection. So we have the low pressure. So this one is the low. We have the mid pressure and we have the high pressure. And then the expertise. I'm a rookie, a young player, so low. I'm there since some time, or I'm a very experienced player with high expertise. So if we put, I mean, I know that I didn't tell you, but I come from Belgium. You hear it in my accent. And is my camera off? Yes. Oops, my camera is off. Sorry. I must have pushed a wrong button. Please, Christine, tell me when my camera is off. So if we look at the player, I heard Roberto Martinez, the Belgian national football coach. He selected some youngsters. I haven't seen the selection. So the youngster that will play their first match, they will probably be with high pressure and low expertise.
This is what I love with efficient imperfection. The silence allows us to reflect as Luke checks his camera and does whatever he is doing. So stay in the room, please.
Ok, qu'est-ce qui se passe là? Ok. Il a craché. Il a craché? Ok, on va retourner dans Zoom.
So in the chat box, we can continue to give feedback.
Christine,
welcome back, Luke. Yes, we can see you.
Okay, sorry. Efficient imperfection. And I'm just gonna log in again. It just logged me in. But while I log in, I can continue to talk. So a player that it's his first Euro Cup. It seems like I'm getting back into the meeting. I can continue and just switch it off there. I'll switch it on there. Okay. Okay, apologies for that. I'll do my my screen sharing again. Share screen. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Can you, Charney, can you allow me to share again? So I was saying, like a young participant, a new player, he will probably be in high pressure and low expertise in there. Am I able to share now?
Yes, you are, Luke.
One share, let's see if it comes up. Okay, so thanks, Christine, for mentioning efficient imperfection. So those things happen, and as you see, I'm not stressed about that. But so this is the part here where we have very much discomfort. So here, this part. If, for instance, we have a very experienced player that's gonna play like a small team, well, he will probably be in this zone. So that's another zone with, sorry, let me choose the right color. That's another zone with low pressure. So this one, and then if we look at two other zones here in the middle, so this is my zone of comfort. I'm in my comfort zone, and we call this maintenance. This one is the zone of no pressure. So I can be bored here. And this one is the zone of high stress. And the interesting one that I like this is the zone of discomfort. Okay, so that's where I like my players to be. Where? Because for discomfort, there is growth. So you can only grow if you get out of your comfort zone. So try to map your people, the people in your company. Where are they? So when I am with my players, I will do it with the Stellis. Are they the ones that are here? Well, I try to take stress away. The ones that are here, I try to put them there. And these ones, I try to put them there. Because if we look here, we have a risk of burnout. Okay? Here, we have a risk of bore out. So my players, they're gonna move out of the team because they are bored. So please map your players. Where do you think you would be? I can ask, let's ask Christine. Christine, which zone are you for the moment?
You said which zone? I am in the discomfort zone.
But not in the high stress, Christine.
No, not in the high stress. The discomfort zone of challenging my current perspectives to integrate new learning.
Okay, so always, thank you, Christine. So always stretch the people. You know, in sports we say pain is not a limit. Pain is an information. Okay, we can always go further. So pain just tells you, look, watch out. Maybe I'll see if I can share another image here. Let's see if it shares it. Or do I need to unshare and share this different screen? I think I need to share a different screen. So let me stop sharing and let me share again. This one, no, I think I'll share this one. It's gonna do it. So this is the hand of Rafael Nadal, okay, at quarterfinals of European Open in 2014. So the hand of Rafael Nadal, that's quarterfinals. He won the quarterfinals with that. So his hand tells him, watch out, Rafa, you will need to take care of your hand afterwards. So stretch it and don't be afraid. I see leaders, they want to be nice, they want to be liked, loved by the people. And I'm going to use this one. If you want to make everybody happy, don't be a leader. Sell ice cream. You heard that we are based in Cape Town. There's the best ice cream in Camps Bay here. Both of my young daughters are in love with the ice cream man. His job is to make my kids, and by the way, myself also, I love ice cream. But as leaders, you are there to stretch the people and to stretch the team also. So that is your role. Okay, let's move on. I want to briefly show you also how to evaluate the players, because often we only look at the productivity of the players, the colleagues, but I call this the yield. And the yield of a player is the productivity divided by the cost of energy to the team. So I might be an amazing player and I might have productivity, for instance, on 8, but I might take a lot of energy to the team. So here I have 4. It means my yield equals 2. And you know what? Those people in the team, I don't want them because they are what I say toxic performers. So please don't only look at the productivity. So sometimes I prefer to have players with a little less technical skills that score less goals, but that bring energy to the team. So please keep both in mind. The yield is the productivity divided by cost of energy. to the team. So I might be an amazing player, but I might take a lot of energy to the team. Okay, I suggest we move to the last part, which is fit to grow. When we speak about fit to grow at Mentally Fit, we speak about the culture. And you know that the culture of the company is linked to the leaders. So if you want to change the culture of the company, you need to change the mindset of the leaders. So if you want, oops, sorry, I went to my other screen. So you need to change the mindset of the leaders. So we will talk about how to be a leader in those pandemic times. And we speak now about what we call the digital leader. So we will all, hopefully we don't hit the third wave here in South Africa, but we will all go back to the office, but not all the time. So there's going to be times we are at the office or we aren't at the office. So it's going to be digital and physical. And as leaders, you need to take care, on one hand, of the performance of the people. So here, it's the performance. And on the other hand, here, we need to take care, that's what we're talking about today. We need to take care of the energy of the people. So let me move this. So I love working with the tablet because you see what it gives me much more flexibility than to work with slides or other things. So it's the performance and the energy. And so they are linked, these ones, they are linked. We need energy. Energy is the fuel for performance. And as leader, the role of the leader here is in the middle and is to create energy. That's the role of the leader. And so the energy, we see it, Suresh spoke about the individual energy, and here we speak about the team energy. And often we think we can leave it there, the individual energy and the team energy. But in the middle, here we have sub-teams. So it's very interesting. In my sports career, I was working with individuals and the team. But of course, now we work, for instance, with the mateys. We work with the back line, the midline, the defenders, and then the strikers. So in your team, make the team work together. So the sub-teams are important, and that's where we speak about the leader. This battery is low, where we speak about the leadership. Okay, the title was the leadership. And what's the leadership? It is, so leadership is vertical. The leader leading his team, okay? So that is the leadership. But next to that, you have the membership. And the membership is horizontal. So that is me taking care of my team as a leader. I'm a member of the team, but also as a member of the team, me, without being the leader, can I influence the energy of the team? So that is important. And I can show you some work we're doing with one of our clients, and we measured the membership attitude. So this is how they decided, so it's an exco of a bank, and these are the 5 membership attitudes. That's some work that we did in team coaching with them. It's clients, I've never seen them. I've been working with them since June, only online. So we have a session every month, and we decided to work on the membership manifesto attributes. And so they decided that these were the 5 attributes, behaviors that they're going to use. And what we do, we have another tool called Timu, and we measure this. And we did it during the last session, and we're going to measure that in every session. So it's not about measuring, that's one time. The important thing is about monitoring. So that's what we want to do. We want to monitor things. So that's how we are in the leadership, in the membership, okay? And I just want on this side for performance, what do you need to do? So the performance, you need to, why isn't my, it's efficient imperfection again, it doesn't wanna, here it is. So the performance is the deliver today, but we also need to prepare tomorrow. And I see a lot of leaders that are way too much in the delivering now. It's okay, we're nearly done. So that are in the delivering now, but they aren't in preparing the future. So that's your role as a leader. And please make this future visible. I think in pandemic times, we see a lot, I like to use images. We had this, so that was last year. That was last year. Due to COVID crisis, no light at the end of the tunnel. I think now, a lot of companies, they're like this. It's normal, no more visibility of the future. And we need that to prepare tomorrow. So at least if you don't have a short-term future, at least have this. We need to see the vision of the company stays the same. So show, as a leader, make this visible, and maybe we can light on the next months, okay? Maybe not the 4th quarter, maybe not the 3rd quarter, but the 2nd quarter. It would be best we work with Amazon. Amazon, they say like, for us, the whole year is clear. So make it visible. The future will motivate and will engage. We also work with the Belgian national hockey team. And how do they make their goal visible? So they go to Tokyo Olympics and they want to win gold. Here's one of the star players for the one that follow hockey. It's Tom Boone. It's one of the star players of Belgium, and Belgium is world champion. So one of the star players in the world. And this guy makes it visible. You see his tattoo. So his tattoo, that's what he wants. He wants to win gold at the Olympics. So Christine said that everybody at USB, all the alumni, they're going to have a tattoo of USB, because that's the vision of USB. Is that correct, Christine? So that is how to show, if possible, at least the long-term vision. But maybe if you don't have a short-term vision, maybe show them the next couple of days, and that will energize the people. And I think I'm gonna end up here. Let me stop sharing, and maybe with a last thing is saying, often they ask me, they interview me much more about sports coaching than about business coaching. And they ask me, look, how do you coach players? My answer is always the same. I don't coach players. I coach humans that like to play. So that's where the difference is. So connect as a leader if you want to grow, to change the culture. Connect as a leader, connect to the heart. I've never seen people motivated by Excel sheets, by PowerPoints. So connect to the heart of the people. So I'm going to end here. And before handing over to Christine and Christelle, we have 2 minutes left. Thank you. Thank you for all being in this room. I enjoyed it. It was efficient imperfection, but we got there. Thank you to Christelle, Christine, the whole team of USB, to my colleagues, Suresh, well done, Alban, Valentin, for the physical exercise, and thanks, Uzi, for introducing us. So happy to stay with you, like Christine and Christelle said. We can stay online. We will send you the slides if you have questions about what we do with companies. We're open for that. You will have our email address and all details. Christine, up to you.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you to the Mentally Fit team. I'm sure we have all enjoyed the connectivity of Mentally Fit, from Fit to Play, Suresh, when he started and he introduced and laid down all the concepts. I watched Formula One, but I'd never thought of how to apply the pit stops to myself. What I was looking at was the fascination and the efficiency with which they do it. And fast forward, listening to Luke, now I understand and appreciate efficient imperfection is a way to embrace and is a way to go. And it reduces the level of stress, keeps you mentally fit, emotionally stable, and all those things that we have learned. I've really loved this Fit to Lead and Fit to Grow. It's something I always say, apply to self first so that you can also apply to others. So thank you so much to the Mentally Fit team. Thank you, Christelle, on behalf of the USB alumni. We really love having such pragmatic sessions, which I think we walk away with immediate takeaways in this pandemic where we are feeling so exhausted, so screened out because we are spending time between the screens. We are born to connect, we are born to play. Thank you, because we have now re-energized. The child in me is so happy today that I feel like just running around and doing all the things that I see sports people doing and letting go, and just a whole lot of the battery scenario in terms of the emotion, how to recharge myself and re-energize. And thank you to everyone who's joined us, friends of the university and the USB alumni. Any alumni that's in the room, thank you so much for taking time. I really hope and trust that this has made an impact. Write it somewhere on your wall, put a note on the fridge so that every time you see Mentally Fit, you just think of those little swings in front of your fridge before you open it. You think of those little exercises just as you hop out of your bed. And if you're not a gym and a sports fanatic, at least that's some re-energizing tips that you got. So wishing you all the best and have a wonderful week to the weekend. Over to you, Christelle. Let's keep walking the talk and let's remain re-energized as leaders of self and as leaders of others. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Before, Christelle, can I just, sorry, I wanted to ask you something while you're still there. Can you maybe, all the participants, put in the chat, what's your major takeaway? What's your takeaway? What you gonna put on the fridge? So just put it in the chat while Christelle does the checking out. Said, what are you walking away out of what Suresh, me, or Alban or Valentin? Okay, just put it in the chat, your major takeaway of this session. Thank you, Christelle, and sorry for interrupting.
No worries. On that moment, my internet decided to drop. So this was another example of that inefficient perfection or whatever, that imperfection. Thank you very much, Christine, for your extremely kind words. And Uzi, your two facilitators, thank you for facilitating this session. I must say, I feel so energized, and I hope that everybody on the call feel this, that the way we started off this morning is not the way we ended. Thank you for this input and to energize us and to show us. Sometimes we feel as if we're in that pit stop where the wheels came off and there's just no wheel to fit again. So thank you for giving us that motivation. We are all humans who love to play and grow and lead in our own little environments. And this has given us so much insights. Thank you for that. Luke, Suresh, Valentine, Alban, Uzi, the entire team, you've really made a difference today. This was a very different format from what we usually have at alumni events. And I really hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to it next time. Thank you to all the alumni, all our friends of the USB. Stay in touch with us. Our next event is on the 9th of June in partnership with Stellenbosch University with Dr. Mornay Mostert and UK-Europe Africa Relations. So that will be a different format than from today. We hope to see you next time, and please, we are still here. If there are any questions or comments, we will still stay on. Have a fantastic rundown to the weekend.
Thank you, Christelle, and please unmute and give us some feedback. Christelle.